Hi, welcome back to Yes, Laura I Am, where I'm sharing content about my surrogacy journey. I will share how Instagram led me to becoming a surrogate. And yes, Instagram led me to becoming a surrogate. Large tech companies are using our data every day. You search up something, you might even be talking on the phone about a different topic to someone, or who knows, Siri's always listening. You might be talking about different things, and who knows if the big tech companies have contracts with Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, or Lemonade to use users' data to tailor advertisements to their quote-unquote need. And that's where social media gets involved. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Let's start with the infertility and the hidden conversation behind it. I don't know if you knew, but right now, 1 in every 5 people are dealing with infertility issues. And a reason why a lot of people are not talking about it is because, one, a lot of people don't know that they're dealing with infertility issues. Right now, the economy is like in a shithole. Inflation is high, rent is high, wages are not keeping up, and a lot of people start their adulthood in debt because they're going to college, they're getting loans for their car, having credit cards to get them from one paycheck to another. A lot of people are starting at a disadvantage into adulthood. So what happens when people do that? People start to postpone when they're going to start families. Why? Because childcare is very expensive. It's not a couple of bucks. It's not, oh, here's $20 to watch my child for the day. It is entire tuition prices right now. Why? Because the early childhood sector is basically trying to prepare students to be ahead in life so they can go where? To college. So a lot of young individuals are saying, I don't have the money to start a family right now. So what happens? People start having families later and later. But when you're not trying to start a family for years straight, how do you know if you're infertile? So what happens is people establish their lives, they establish their business, or they climb the career ladder, they find love of their life, and they say to each other, well, I guess we can start a family. So you're comfortable, but sometimes it's not really planned off the bat. It's more so if it happens, it happens. But if what is really happening, time goes by and you realize, wow, haven't gotten pregnant yet. And then that's when people start to try on purpose. And after a few tries, mind you, women usually have to wait to see if they have a missed period. That's like 28 to 35 days of waiting. And you're not going to do it one time and say, oh, well, I'm infertile. You're not going to do it twice and say, oh, I'm infertile. You might do it about 7 or 8 times because life is still happening. People are still managing jobs, things pop up, and they lose track of the fact that they are trying to conceive. But what happens when it's the 9th or 10th month and you realize that I might have infertility issues? That's when people might go to a doctor to seek professional guidance. The doctor says, well, I would need you to try now under my supervision. And that doesn't mean that they're trying to conceive in front of the doctor, but the doctor is aware of the patient's concerns about conceiving. And the doctor will want you to try to conceive anywhere between a month to 12 months before they start to eliminate different factors. Because who knows, it could probably be the timing. This timeline was actually explained to me back in 2021 when I went to go get a silk press. I was updating my stylist about life. My daughter was turning 2, and I was like, oh, what about your child? How's everything going? Not knowing that everyone doesn't have children. Sometimes when you have children, you just start thinking everyone else that might be older than you as a woman might already have a family. She told me, actually, I'm about to consider surrogacy. And this is a conversation, like I said, hidden conversation about something that she was struggling with. So I said, wow, surrogacy. And she explained to me that she went through a process of starting her business, finishing school, finding the right partner, and they started to try to conceive, and time went by and they realized it didn't happen. So they decided to go see a specialist, a physician that basically dealt with infertility issues. And before they could really start to make a assumption, they needed to start trying to conceive and see if they could eliminate different factors as to why they as a couple weren't able to conceive. Long story short, they ended up getting to the bottom of it, and it came to a point where she was told that she could not carry a baby Some women have the eggs. Some women have issues with their eggs. Some women have issues with their fallopian tubes. Some women just can't carry the baby past a certain amount of weeks. It's so many different factors, and she was able to explore all of these different factors. But what did that take? That took time and money, especially when IVF doesn't work. So she had to grieve that. After doing that, it's a very emotional experience. It's an emotional roller coaster. Just think, you're trying to conceive, time goes by, do the pregnancy test, and then you get nothing. This is a hidden conversation that you may not know that a fellow coworker or a family member or someone close to you could be going through. I was very appreciative for her to be open about it. And she said the reason why she's able to speak openly about it is because of the fact that she wished that somebody could have given a conversation about their infertility issues and it would have sparked something ahead. But either way, she was saying that she went through the grieving process, grieving the fact that you might not have that life that you thought you were going to have. And in order to make it happen, she thought about surrogacy. My journey into surrogacy began unexpectedly. After hearing the story with my hairstylist, I researched infertility and surrogacy on, guess what? My phone. I started looking up surrogacy, like, well, if she doesn't have eggs, how is she going to conceive? That led me to traditional surrogacy. Then what if a woman has eggs and they're healthy? Well, what happens in that case? And that leads you to gestational surrogacy. Either way, I started to look at these websites, and I'm a millennial, so I kind of went to Google first and Bing and looked through different websites, looked through all the information about it. And I said, okay, well, let me look it up. And I started to look up different topics on YouTube in my free time, just listening to it, because this was a hidden conversation about a topic that everyone doesn't share. So I was curious. Once I came across YouTube, I started seeing other people who became surrogates and how they became a surrogate and their process of becoming a surrogate. And I'm looking at these people and they're like ordinary people. Of course, I didn't know what it meant to be a surrogate, but to see people that just seemed like everyday women making the decision, I started to think, well, why are they doing this? What could be the reason? And that sent me down a rabbit hole, leading me to the profound realization about how I can help and get compensated for it. How big tech is using our data and influencing our life decisions. Ever notice how your online searches seem to follow you around the internet? Well, I did. Big tech uses our data to shape our feed and ultimately our life choices. Don't think you haven't been influenced. If you shared a meme about a topic that you saw, a lot of people share topics about life decisions like sprinkle, sprinkle, and drizzle, drizzle. This is an entire phenomenon that's happening. Influence people's thoughts around relationships, around money, around starting businesses. Just coming across a social media post and reading the comments, you're literally engaging in. It's like you're walking in a room filled with chatter and you're catching up on the dialogue. Don't think that that doesn't sway your perception of different topics in your life or your major life decisions. Well, it surely did change my life decision. Not long after I did my research, my Instagram showcasing surrogacy related ads. And when I looked at some of these posts, they were catchy reels.
We played a prank on our friends by telling them that we were pregnant. But this baby isn't his. Neither is mine. Because I'm a surrogate.
I used to go on these detoxes from social media. That's where you deactivate your account. Well, everyone's done that. And a lot of people have returned to social media. Some people don't return because their life has changed. They've completely detached from social media and their reality is perfectly fine the way it is. Then you have another group of people like me. I started to think, well, if social media is unhealthy, wouldn't that mean that it's the posts that I'm seeing, the reasons why I'm going on there? You know how they say, drink responsibly? Well, I started to think, how can I use social media responsibly? So I started to unfollow everybody on my following list. And I started to follow people who inspired me, people that were a part of a niche that was important to me, like hair, skincare, nutrition. And I would look at those posts and I would react to those posts and put comments under those posts, and later people would follow me because of a comment that I left. So I started to attract people based off of the different types of stance that I had. So then I would follow those people back and they would be posting, and basically I was connecting with people that had similar interests and ideas like myself. And I started to think, you don't run into people every day. When was the last time you were able to go and have a small conversation with somebody that actually led to you getting to know the person? Right now, everyone has GPS, everyone has Instagram, everyone has social media where they're planning out every move they make, and on the way that they're doing it, they're either posting about it on their phones, distracted. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't people like myself who just spark up a small conversation, small talk with someone, but it's not something that is the norm anymore like back in the day. So what did this mean for me? I started to follow different infertility clinics, and then they would share posts on so and so gave birth today. And mind you, I followed these companies for like a year, and I was seeing, oh, this person gave birth, or this person signed their legal contract, or this person had their embryo transfer. And I'm like, these are like everyday women, and they're making a good amount of money to do this. So I followed a few, and that led me to a few TikToks, that led me to YouTube channels, and I was interacting with other people that was in this particular community that I was starting to get curious about. Because like I said, hidden conversations, if they're not brought up to you, it could be literally out of the scope of your reality. That brought me back to why I started to get into surrogacy a bit more. I followed these companies, followed the surrogates, wrote underneath their posts, they interacted back with me, and I started to think that, hey, you know what? I would like to get paid to start a family as well. Digital connection turned into a supportive circle, guiding me through the fears and challenges of my surrogacy journey. I have someone on Instagram now that I connected to after making a YouTube channel, posting about my surrogacy journey, and creating threads about my surrogacy journey. And threads is actually becoming useful. They're connecting to people that are talking about the same thing you're talking about. I would have never known that person exists. Now, this is not saying that social media is an angel sent from above, but using social media responsibly. How to use social media responsibly, I believe, is the answer. And obviously, we're not going to just put it on the consumer. These companies keeping people hooked to the screen. There was a YouTuber that shared that the number one priority of tech giants in social media is to keep you glued to the phone and on the app. So yes, I think they could do a little bit better, but we also need to think about, it's a fundamental part of a lot of people's lives. Why not learn how to use it at the most responsible level? Meaning being more educated about how social media works and create your own boundaries, but navigate around your internet experience. Conversation with experienced surrogates on Instagram not only informed me, but also built my confidence to pursue that path. I started the surrogacy application process on my phone, and it took 2 minutes to do the pre-application, and then boom, I was already tied into an agency and navigating the process. Now, this was a major life decision that was impacted through social media, and this is how Instagram led me to my surrogacy agents. The connections I made through Instagram were instrumental in navigating these early phases of my surrogacy journey. My journey to becoming a surrogate has been transformative, and it all started with Instagram. If you've ever been influenced by social media, and believe me, you probably have. If you're on my video, you're being influenced. Please share your comments below. Don't forget to follow my journey on Instagram at Beauty Per Futurist for live update. Hey y'all! So I hope everyone is tuning in. Today is a very, very emotional day for me because my live streams and behind the scenes content that I might not show on YouTube. I'll be back to discuss your feedback and questions and follow up in a video. So keep the comments coming and let's keep the important conversation going. I'll be keeping an eye on which topics you guys are most engaged with to tailor future content to what you want to see most next. Remember, share this video with anyone who you might find it inspiring or helpful. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit the notification bell to stay updated on my surrogacy journey and more. See you again next time. Bye-bye.